Hello and welcome to a new type of video I plan on experimenting with on my channel. I'm going to spend the next several weeks narrating several short sci-fi creepypasta stories to hone my skills in narration and editing for several large future projects I have planned. If you like this new format, let me know by leaving a comment down below and smashing that like and subscribe button. And with that, we're going to read A Big Enough Rock by the Jinxed Girl. We should have been concerned. We felt the humans were a species of disunity capable of only casting rocks at themselves and squabbling over the hierarchies of divinity. Their history was pockmarked with crusade after jihad after crusade after exodus after insurrection of zealots of 1,000 names doing just that, casting stones at those who disagreed. Where other species rose as one, humans were fragmented into thousands of arbitrary segregations. We should have been concerned. Humanity cast itself from its biosphere in what they felt was a void. Their technology was primitive, bound to a rough 3 dimensions. The 4th was the limiter of their perception. We existed in the 4th and 5th, and made no passes at a 6th, as that was our limit. We knew our limit, and respected it as such. The humans did not seem to believe in limits. They treated them as obstacles, merely transient, arbitrary concepts that they drew hard lines between their existence and subsistent, and paid no respect to the subsistent outside their ambitions. Their senses and view of energies was pathetically limited. They had no conception of gravity beyond what its effect was on their limited dimensions, pulling objects of 3 dimensions towards other objects of 3 dimensions relative to their masslessness, which again was a product of matter existing in only 3 dimensions. When they freed themselves from what they saw as gravity's hold on their biosphere and began planting themselves elsewhere in what they saw as their solar system, we felt we had to stop them. They did not see the slow death of their irrelevant 3rd dimension of a planet as a limit. Like the other species, we felt they should accept this limit and die. We destroyed their colonies and some thousands of colony ships, taking with them much of their species, and sent them a very simple message in a language they could decode.
We exist in the gravitic, which you do not understand. We are part of a higher set of dimensions, which you do not understand. We are alone in this paradigm. Only we understand. Planetary species are meant for their own planets. This is where you evolved, and this is where you will cease to evolve in your death. You do not understand this. You are an anomalous species that does not submit to the bounds of your dimensions. Cease your attempts at colonization. Adapt biologically to your biosphere, or die with the other species of your dimensions. Your ships are insufficient to wage war on us. Your weapons are fit only for 3-dimensional creatures such as your own selves. Understand that you are limited. We deign to intersect with your dimension only at 192, 196, 199, 000. You may communicate with us there if you would like to understand the proper dogma of this paradigm. You are a species of disunity that can only throw rocks. Accept this. You cannot throw a rock big enough to disrupt our enforcement of the dogma.
We waited. We expected no response, or if anything, perhaps a deployment of hastily cobbled warships. Such was the fantasy of their culture. They idolized their species. Instead, they began launching more colony ships, modified but unarmed, into their planet's orbit. We permitted this. We should have been concerned. They landed on their own moon, still a part of their planet. We permitted this. We should have been concerned. They colonized it, adapted their culture to it, and moved the entirety of their species onto it. We permitted all of this as proper actions of a species entering its twilight, when we should have been concerned. We determined after the fact that the armies of the nations of humanity had been combined into a single charge and detonated. Their planet's moon, with them upon it, rode the blast into a comfortable orbit near a resource-rich asteroid. Their devastated biosphere was propelled toward our point of intersection. We exist in the gravitic. The mass of their planet will disrupt our intersection with the lower dimensions and leave us blinded and powerless to stop humanity, or any other lower species from treating their limits as obstacles. They do not understand the dogma of the paradigm, and how that is simply how it must be. We should have been concerned. We were naive, and as a consequence, we have lost 3 dimensions. received a single electromagnetic signal from their lunar arc shortly after the detonation of their charge. We have our own dogmas and don't want yours. Humanity, united, thinks this should be a big enough rock.